continuing on with the work on the NEC, I was having a look at various options for replacing the battery. So the internal battery is completely knackered. So I'm going to need to replace that, and I wanted something that was, you know, reasonable. So I was thinking, let me just move the stuff out of the way. I was thinking for this, the battery is internal, and that's fine. So the choice is either open up the case and do that, or possibly using the back cover. So this cover comes off and it's much more accessible. And I found this in my stores. I trimmed the leads a little bit. Now what's nice, this is a lithium cell clip. All right, so this is a very standard bit of kit. But what's nice is it actually fits really nicely in there. So the idea is not only that, you can actually close the cover. that's vital. So if I show you, so the idea so far, just move the camera up a little bit, is to have a sticky pad on there, connect the leads, run the leads through here, and then stick that down. So that's not, hopefully, that's not going to interfere with anything else. I can still put a ROM, expansion ROM in there. It's going to mask out RAM slot 7 and 6, but the chances are finding these ROMs, these RAM modules, are really, I mean, they're as rare as hen's teeth. I've seen some stuff online where you can actually create your own, and I might do that, but I'm probably never going to populate it all. If I do, I can always, you know, change it, maybe even put this inside. But this I thought was a nice compromise. So anyway, the idea is to have that, solder that up, have it there, nice sticky pad, and then from that you can then nicely do that. So this is really cool. So it's an easy way you can service it. Amazingly, there's enough space. So the next question, let's just move this to one side a minute, is it's fine to have a cell. So let me get a CR 2032 cell, which is a pretty standard cell. So I've got a whole load of those cells here. So this is the normal lithium cell, 3-volt lithium cell, which I think should be enough. And let's just test that. Should be alright, because I think these are new, he says. Where the heck is that guy? Oh, it's down there. Right, so 2.8 volts. Well, that's not totally sprightly. Oh, anyway. Now this is a CR2032 cell. Fine, no problem there. And we can use that. It's compatible with that that thing. That's great. But one of the problems is that actually this is a if you plug it into the mains on the 8.5 volt power adapter, which I don't have. I've got to make one up. Problem is that will then try and charge this. Okay, so I've been reading stuff online, and you can put a diode in series with it, which is fine. So if we take this and we stuff this in here, right, so we've got that now in place. Let me move all this. Everything's in the way today. It's one of those weird days. Everything's in the way. Let's tidy up a little bit. So there's the cell holder. What we're going to do now is we're going to attach positive to there and negative to there. And as we did before, if we do that, then we see there's a voltage on there. That's fine. Now, what you can do is put a diode in series with it. Now, if we put a diode in series, so the original voltage, I don't know if you can see any of that stuff. The original voltage, as I say, so that's 2.8 volts. Okay. Now, if we put around the right way, if we put a diode in series with it, we now get the voltage drop. Okay, so we've got 0.3 volts across that diode, which is not great. So that's fine. It'd probably be enough for this, but once the battery just charges to a certain degree, then that's going to be useless. You use the diode to prevent a reverse charge on that. So when the device is trying to charge the battery up, it basically ignores it, and the diode clamps it down, and it protects the battery. Chances are it'll probably be okay, but you know, belt and braces. However, 0.3, so we see the difference there. You got 0.8 there, 2.8 there, 2.5 there, 0.3 volts. That's a lot. That's a lot of voltage drop across that diode, and I'm not sure that's going to be good enough. I think that's going to reduce the service life of that battery quite a lot. Anyway, so I'm going to continue and put this in, and I've actually ordered some rechargeable versions of these batteries. So most batteries you find in supermarkets or pound shops and stuff like that, they're all CR2032s, and that's standard. But you can get exactly the same form factor, but rechargeable versions of the CR2032, and they're marked as rechargeable. It's very, very difficult to confuse. Well, it's not impossible, but it's difficult to confuse the two because it will say rechargeable on it. So I'm going to continue and solder this up anyway. I'm going to leave the diode out, so I don't want that voltage drop, but it will allow me to still use this battery clip. And when they arrive, it's exactly the same as this. It's rechargeable, so that the unit can, if I do decide to make an adapter for it, you know, that will charge the unit up. So it's a useful thing to have, and you don't get that 0.3 volt voltage drop that will probably make the battery next to useless anyway in no time. Anyway, so that's the plan. I'm going to start soldering things up. I need to get a sticky pad for the back of this, so it sits nicely on in the chassis there, and then run some wires to the battery and desolder that battery. The tricky bit, I think, is going to be finding the correct way to desolder the battery that's actually in there at the moment and making a decent connection. Well, there's the battery. I've got to figure out how I'm going to take that out in a reasonable way. It's probably welded to the side of that. I'm not sure whether there's enough of it I can grab to take the battery out. I want to leave a little bit of a tag. If I can just nip that off. Well, maybe that might work actually. Yeah, that might work. Let's give it a bit more treatment. Hang on, where's the... If I just have a quick look in there. There we go. Okay, that's good. So that's taken that bit off enough, and I've left, you can see that in there, I've left a tag there that I can solder onto. I mean, I could take the board out, but I'd rather not. I'd rather not. It's all a bit crazy. So I may have to unplug. I didn't want to do that, but I think I'm going to have to unplug those sockets there. Let me get a spudger. We want to do this with plastic on plastic. Not sure I'm going to be able to do that. That seems very tight, that connector. Wow. Oh, that's moving. Okay, that's better. What I don't want to do is pull against the cables, because that's when things go wrong. Okay, and then this one. Right, there's another ribbon cable there, but I think I've got enough. If I just move that way, I think I've got enough. And the other side, be very difficult for me to move this around so you can see. But the other side looks exactly like that side. It's really just a case of just nipping that off. Right, bear with me a sec. Actually less I can get hold of this side, which is a bit of a shame, but hopefully there'll be enough. Okay, so there's the offending article. 3.6 volt, 50 milliamp hour NICAD. So, you know, it works. It's old school though. Anyway, so it's that way round. Luckily, it's actually marked on the board. You got plus on there, so you know which side things go. It was originally that way, and now it's a case of getting a suitable cable on there and then somehow routed through the bottom. I think, in actual fact, I'm going to have to end up taking these cables off anyway. So there's a ribbon cable there and another cable there, which I think is part of the power management. So that's it now disconnected. I was fighting against it. I knew that was going to happen at some point. Let's put that away to one side. So the question now is, whereabouts do we route the cable? There is some space there, but not much. I might have to end up taking the board out anyway. I didn't really want to do that. I think I might have to. There's going to be this side anyway, sort of down there kind of thing. So, wow, there's a lot of screws. Okay, well, there's no point in fighting it. I guess I'm going to have to just take this off and start routing some screws down there. Yeah, okay. So if I take the actually, good point. Actually, would that? It's quite big for here. It would fit, but I think I want it in the other place. So if I get some, put the cables there and route the cables down here, then I might be able to go down past the switch down to about there, and then that way, and then on the other side appear magically outside the case here. So that's on, that'll be in RAM 7, and what's nice is that RAM 7 is actually marked on the board there, so I've got to go, well, I suppose I could go that way, in fact, go that way and then down. Although if it's that side, it's going to be further out of the way and up against that stop there. So it's probably better actually if I do go down here, past the switch, down here to here, and then that way. So I need to find a suitable cable and cut that to size, solder it onto there, and then stuff it in the hole and see whether I can route it. All right. Bit. Let's leave that for a minute. So the next thing is, let's see whether we can get these connectors actually properly tinned up. Yeah, they seem to take solder okay, so that's good. Now the question is, oops, I'll use that a minute. Just going to trim this a little bit So the lead's a little bit long. Okay, that's one. Okay, so that's that. Now I'm going to move it that way. Put a bit of a twist in there. Just keep that together. And down here, what I want to do is actually drop some hot melt glue on that so it doesn't move around. Now, find a little glue stick's in there. Where's he gone? And it's gone. Got the lighter. Where have I put that? No, I can't blame and find it. Oh, there it is. It's right in front of my face. Well, this might be a little bit messy, but it'll probably be good enough for what we need. That's two. It's not perfect, but it's actually not too bad. So if I do that, and then I'm going to put another blob of glue in the middle there. I've got a gun somewhere, but the trouble is, I find with the gun it works alright, but it tends to make a terrible mess elsewhere. I kind of have a habit of leaving it on. You look down, and there's just a massive blob of stuff. Okay, that'll do for now. So that'll stop that moving around a little bit. Now, next thing we've got to look about routing those cables into there. Okay. I'll take it all off, haven't I? I really didn't want to take it all off. Oh. It's actually that one there that's stopping it. That's it. Yeah. I don't need to take it all off, but most of it off. Okay, that's that one. And one. Okay, hope I'm not going to suffer by not being able to get that bloody cover back on. That's why I really didn't want to open it all up, but hey, it is what it is. So that's now routed down there, quite nice. And if we turn this over, put that back. I'm sure about that one. Something going on in there. Anyway. So. That was a case of attaching that in there. Can go there like that, and then that one's gonna have to root round a little bit, so a bit more in there. Okie dokie. So that's going to be like that. It's going to go there like that. So it's going to go that side there. Okay, next one. Just make sure I know which way around that's going to go. So that's going to go there like that. It's going to go there like that. Yeah, let's be the same. And okay, that's good. Now I've just realised that I haven't got any sticky pads. So the idea is that's going to go up there like that. That will go in there like that. Now I need to put a sticky pad in there to protect the circuit board. I don't want it to short out, obviously, but also to stick it down. And it's got to be a reasonably small sticky pad. This has plastic standoffs there, which is cool, but I obviously don't want anything to short out. The standoffs are about a mil more than that, so it's actually quite good. It's I wouldn't say it's the perfect thing, but it's not bad. So anyway, I've got to find a standoff. Once I've done that, I can then bond that to that, and we should be good to go. Then I can test it. Got some sticky pad. So I need to figure out what it's going to look like. So if I do that, is that going to be enough like that? Yeah, that's probably the width of it, so probably just one of those is good. And that's too big for that, so I need to cut it down to size. I reckon I just get a pen and mark it there. Well, any old mark is probably good enough. Okay, so that's good. That will go in there like that. So I'm going to stick this down. Let's only stick one side down for the switch. Okay, so that'll be like that. And then I'm going to have to bend those down there so they don't interfere and foul up on there. So that should be good. Okay. I think what I'm going to have to do also is put this pad in the middle of that as well. Yeah, that's probably going to be the best thing. So it makes as best contact as possible. So that goes that way. So if I put it in there like that, let me cut it first and I'll show you what I mean. So that goes in there like that. Okay, that's good. And that one comes off and that one comes off. Before I do any of this, I'm just going to put some screws back in there because everything's sort of moving around a little bit. I want to be as positive on that as possible. And I've dropped the screw again. Okay. Okay, that's good. Put one more in there, I think, and then, well, actually two more. That one and that one, I might as well. And then we can peel that protective cover back, and hopefully stick the thing down. Alright, let me show you where we are. Take that bit off. Take that bit off. And then with the wires out the way, we should be able to put that there. Is it not actually big enough? I think it needs more material. Where's the rest of that thing? There's more pads. So what I'm going to have to do is double up that pad. It's not quite big enough. So that's the size of that one. Use that as a template and just cut that in there. And we're going to need to make that, to double that up. It's squidgy enough, so it should be okay. Alright, so that's that one. Get the cover off. Come on. That's it. Okay, so the plastic is now holding. In actual fact, I think ROM 6 would yeah, ROM 6 may be able to actually take a, yeah, it should be able to take a socket, an IC if we wanted it to. I'll put that back there because I think that pad is still doable. Right, okay, cool. That looks alright. And that's reasonably well attached. So let me go and find a temporary one so we can use one of these CR batteries. This one here, CR 2032, so we can use one of these as a temporary measure. I'm not going to be plugging it into mains to charge, and when I get the proper battery I'll then swap it round. So the top one is positive, the bottom is negative. I'm just going to open that a bit to help it in. It's quite a savage little thing, that. There you go. Cool. Okay, so question is, yay, that fits. Brilliant. That was a relief. So that fits, and hopefully it should give it some positive locking anyway. I think it's touching it slightly, but that's a good thing, and it's reacting against the foam pad. So again, that's good. And we'll get these screws on. And then we've got to try and reassemble this arrangement. So that goes in there like that. It should just be, hopefully, a case of lining this up in there, he says. Okay, yeah. This is why I didn't want to do this, because I knew it was going to be a pain in the arse. So this bit here reacts against that bit for the expansion socket. I think there's it's slightly pre-tensioned. Yeah, there's not much. You can see it's spring loaded there, it's pushing away from it, but that's okay. Alright, I think we're going to be good. These ones, actually I think, I'm not sure those are the right screws. There's 4 screws, two different types of screw. So one has the lip on the end, the other one doesn't. Let me see how many of these there are. I think, got a feeling these ones without the lip are actually the outside case. Yeah, that's true actually. So the rest of these are these ones with the lip on them. I don't think the other ones will actually go into the case because they have that lip. Right, okay, that's good. The next thing I've got to do with this thing is to make myself a tape adapter cable for it, and this has remote control and all that other great stuff, so it's going to be good. It's got a slightly weird connector because it's got the internal pin. So it's 2, 4, 6, 7, 8 pins, and it has a central pin. I'm not sure where that central pin is used. See what I mean? It looks a bit of a weird one, but I've probably got something that will fit. Anyway, so that's good. That looks good. Well, there's a lot of force on there, but that's all right. Right, okay, that all looks good. Now we need to put the top bit on. which is the display board, and what is that? Yeah, display board and keyboard and charge indicator. Charge indicator goes in there like that. This one goes this way with the red going that way. It's actually looks like it's easy to line that up. And now we've got to put these on. So I guess this one first. It seems tricky. Why is that so tricky? Maybe it's just stiff. That's on. And then this one, I've got to make sure. Oh, that's a little tricky because that's kind of. I should have put these actually out of the way. That was a mistake. Let's just move that out of the way a little bit. I think we've probably got the space to do it. Yeah. It's kind of tricky. Is that lined up all right? Wow, it seems to require quite a bit of force. Why is that so difficult to get in? I don't think you can go in any other way. Maybe it is just that cable that I've put in there is getting it in the way. Oh, that's a shame. Should have thought of that. I might have to move that flaming cable I've put in there. Yeah, I'm going to have to do that. Let's take this cable out. Okay, yeah, that was a mistake. So what I should have done is, actually no, having said that, it's still very difficult to get in. Maybe it wasn't that. Wow, why is that so difficult to get in? Something bent? Cable looks okay. Something jammed in there? No? No, it's just really stiff. Okay, so it probably wasn't that after all. Okay, that's in. I don't think it's going to move around much. It's probably good enough. And there's a clip there on the side. Okay, let's get this buttoned up. So like I say, I'm going to do a quick test with ordinary batteries and just get rid of all this junk. With ordinary batteries and the ordinary, sorry about that, run out of space on my recorder, so there we go. So put some batteries in there. I'm not sure. Well, anyway, so we've got some batteries in there. Going to change that one for a rechargeable when it turns up. We've got the backup power switched on there. So let's. There we go. So that's now on. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to. Now, how can you see this? Let me move this stuff out of the way a minute. I'm going to go to text. I'm going to call this test. Okay, so we've got retro ginger on there, which is great, and we go to, I think it's control something or shift something. There you go. So that is the test document. Alright, so the next thing to do is to turn this off and wait, and then after that we can I can verify that that's working again. You know, that's still active, and it's maintained state, so that's cool. I don't know why the 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. That's odd. Nothing else in memory. Has it lost a lost memory? That's very odd. Okay. Anyway, so the first test is the battery. So what I'm going to do is leave that for a couple of days, come back, and we'll do another test. So far so good. It's working. I do that and it all works. Notice that the RAM is now back up to normal. So on the work I was doing in here, for some reason I either you know, misplaced that, or not misplaced, jogged that or whatever, disturbed that, and then I realised that actually it wasn't pushed down at all, so it was just sort of floating around. Now I've just had a bit of a scary one, and the two end pins, so I thought, okay, I'm going to reseat that. So I pulled it off to make sure that it was all clean and everything else, and then I stupidly bent those two pins right over, and the pins are extremely thin. I managed to bend it back and very, very, very gently push it back in. Yeah, that's not great design. So I think it's an original bit of kit. It's not an expansion, but yeah, they are unobtainium. They're really, really hard to find, and very, very fragile. But in reseating it, I've now got the full. Why is it whenever I do that with screws? I've now got the full memory back, which is great, and the file that I was testing, that's still there. So far so good. I'm going to check back again, and when I check back, I think I'm going to do some more testing and perhaps build the cassette interface cable for it and see if we can save some programs onto cassette and do a bit more. But as part of the next sort of thing, I'm going to make sure that it's still working. So after a few days, I'm going to switch it on. So yeah, all good so far. Fingers crossed. Cheers.